Hey, Crawl Spacers, welcome to our Miles Morales PS4/PS5 video game review. And I'm joined by, what's up, Neil? How are you, buddy?
Well, I woke up at 4 in the morning for a 5 a.m. shift, and
Wow.
I worked until 2, so that was a 9-hour shift of pushing freight. So
Bet you're exhausted. Luckily, you have a young back. I imagine that.
I'm 22.
I know, but hopefully your back's not shot.
This job is going to shoot it.
It'll peak at age 30. All right, we're also joined by Javi. What's up, Advanced Suit Javi? How are you, sir?
Good. How are you guys tonight?
Got your nice PlayStation Spider-Man logo on your shirt there.
That's right.
Very nice.
Ready to talk some Miles Morales.
We are. So, hello, Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and Twitch viewers. We've got SoFlo in the house watching us.
Hey, SoFlo.
What's going on, SoFlo?
Hey, SoFlo.
And I'm going to put this little logo so it's not covering Neil's head. Let's see what that looks like.
My disgusting.
Now it's covering Javi's head.
Just get rid of it.
Here's an idea. There, that's not awful. That's not covering too much of Javi. Javi, can you tilt your camera up a little bit? There you go.
Before we start, someone posted a picture on Twitter of like the three podcast guys, and it's the bad guy from Toy Story to like the owl, I think, from Toy Barn, Linguini from Ratatouille, and then the dad from Inside Out with the mustache. And Kelly quote tweeted that and said, "This is not true, Neil. You can't grow the mustache to be the Inside Out dad to prove me otherwise."
That's funny. Heroing, what's going on, sir? Bob Jones in the house. And Nintendo, Bonjour amigos. There we go. So,
isn't that two different languages, though?
One's Spanish and one's French. Yes, that's true.
It's okay.
It's all good. So I was looking, guys, and this video game came out in November of last year. I didn't think it'd been out that long. So
that sounds about right, because you missed out because you were waiting for the PS5.
I did, and I got a PS5 in March, and I finished this game in like April of 2021. So that's what I was holding off of reviewing it. But Javi was like, "You want to do the review?" I'm like, "Yeah, we all finished it." So let's go around the horn before we start with doing like a plot of what the story's about in case someone hasn't played the game yet. By the way, the spoilers, we're going to go all out. So I'll give my grade of the game. I would give it a solid B. Not a plus, not a minus. I think it's a solid B. I would give the Spider-Man game that preceded this one an A+. I thought that game was excellent. I loved that game. Javi, what would you give this game for a grade?
I would do a solid A.
Okay.
It's definitely not as long as the first game.
Correct.
It's missing some of the specific mechanics, but I think that gets into the character a little bit. But overall, like graphically,
beautiful.
It was. I don't have a PS5. I just have a PS4, and graphically, I could see the improvement in between the two games.
The snow physics is wonderful.
Oh yeah, the snow is really
and
cool.
The camera as well. So for me, I had just as much fun playing this game as I did the first one.
So if this one is an A, what's the previous game for you? A+?
Yeah.
Okay, A+.
I think I'd give it an A+.
Neil, what do you give this game and the previous one?
So I'm going to give this one a B+, maybe an A-. So my logic is that I think that there were a lot of really good refinements to the combat flow and the gadget wheel and how they integrated it into the combat loop. Mm-hmm. But the story doesn't take the right kinds of risks. It takes some risks and kind of mixes things up, but it kind of retreads the same ground that Miles is known for. We'll get into that a bit later when we talk about the story. But it doesn't take the kind of risks it needs to in order to feel wholly unique like Insomniac Man did.
Right. What would you give the previous game, Neil?
I'd probably give it an A+.
Yeah.
That one, to put it more succinctly, that felt more like the core title. This felt more like an interesting $40 diversion.
I thought you were like a B on the last one, Neil.
It's kind of changed since then. I've kind of grown to appreciate it a lot more.
Right on.
I've played a little bit of the PS5 upgrade. of it, and it is even more beautiful. But I do like, and what I've heard is they're actually going to do. I like Spider-Man: The Snow, and this game incorporated that. You don't usually see that with Spider-Man that often, and when you do, I always think it's kind of cool.
Have we seen that in a game before? I don't really think it's.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Definitely not the Atari. No, I'm just kidding.
Definitely not the PlayStation 1 version.
Yeah, I know.
Where New York was in the cloud.
Well, the new Far From Home movie.
Reasons.
Oh yeah, the new Far From Home movie is taking place in the wintertime too. So
you mean No Way Home?
What did I say?
You said Far From Home.
Oh yeah, I'm still hoping that movie gets better. No. Yes, No Way Home is supposed to take place in wintertime. But what were you saying, Neil?
I was gonna say that my opinion on Insomniac Man is kind of warmed up. I still think the combat flow was I thought that was Nightcrawler with his sword for a second there, Javi. the blue reflected off his skin.
Oh, there's Miles.
This red one.
So there's our grades. I've got some other grades here that we can go over. EGM, I'm not sure what that is. 5 out of 5.
I think it's Electronic
Gamer Magazine. Okay, got it. Collider gave it an A+. IGN gave it a 9 out of 10. Tech Radar 4.5 out of 5. Easy Allies, it's an unmissable adventure. Venture Beat gave it 4.5 out of 5, 4.5 out of 5, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. Engaging and powerful fun. So it got good reviews out of us. It got good reviews out of a lot of different video game review sites. So I guess the only thing it felt a little different for me is it felt like just a little bit exaggerated of a DLC. I mean, this could easily have been a 4th chapter, in my opinion. Because I love the Black Cat DLC for the first one. I thought that was great. And this one felt just a smidge longer. Do you guys agree with that, or what do you guys think?
Yeah, I'd argue. I think it was like my friend and I did it in 2 hours.
You beat this game in 2 hours?
No, wait, no, I'm talking about the DLC. I'm sorry.
My God.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's what you get. That's what you get after a 9-hour shift at work. But it kind of felt it was a little longer than the DLCs, and I feel like maybe this should have been like a. Do you guys play Destiny?
No.
So what they do is they have like these Comet DLCs, which are like small $10 ones, and then the new the main expansions are like $40. I feel like this should have been one of those $40, like $30 or $40 expansions, rather than being its own separate game.
Yeah. Javi, you just sent me a bunch of pictures. Are you wanting to go over those now before the?
We can do it when we talk costumes.
Okay, I got some pictures, but we'll go through your pictures too. Also, what were you saying?
In terms of like the game length, like I'd heard all the rumors and the early reviews going in that obviously don't expect the same length. So I'd mentally prepared when I first played the game, and I spaced it out. Instead of just blowing through the main story, like I took my time and did all the photos and getting all the soundtrack beats that he had to get. So by the time I got to the end of it, I'd pretty much taken care of all the side missions and leveled them up as much as I could and had as many costumes as I could.
And
so I felt like I got a good value out of that $40.
I was the exact opposite. I went through the story fast.
Yeah, that might be why it was a bit quicker for me to finish the main story, because I didn't feel. One of the things that helped the first game was like you felt invested in the collectibles.
The backpacks, yes.
Yeah, and here it kind of just felt like they were an afterthought, like they were obligatorily put in because they were in the first game, and it's like
I got really ticked off with collecting the beats. Because I went to the park and I got that ice skater guy going around, and then the pigeons fall. I'm like, what am I sampling? I spent at least an hour on that. And after that, I'm like, I'm going straight story. That was one of the most that specific beat collection was my nemesis of the first game, where he had to do the little puzzles where the flows of the energy, and God, I hated those. They
absolutely ruined the gameplay.
They slow it down for sure. I did it because I wanted to feel smart and like sciency, like Peter
Oh,
Parker. But
I
when I
knew I
played
was
New
not.
Game Plus, you can skip those. There's a setting where you can turn those off, and you just hold R1 and it does it for you automatically.
But it kind of reminds me of like the 2017 cartoon where like everyone goes, "I like science, I'm really smart," and then like they just like press some buttons and they go, "Whoa, I'm smart."
Yeah, button smashing smart. Yes,
I thought the side quests were the collectible things were I thought they added an extra characterization element to it, especially the music stuff, because that led to Prowler and getting a suit. So like there was a point to getting them if you wanted to get more skins to play in.
Nintendo has a funny comment. Pigeon talk and snow in New York reminds me of Home Alone 2.
Well, the birds,
yeah,
I could do without in both games.
Well, this one didn't have what's her name that was so annoying in the first one.
No.
Screwball. My God.
Yeah.
I hate that I remember Screwball.
DLC in the last game is frustrating at certain points, says Nintendo.
Yeah, I think in the last review we did of the 3 DLCs that like I don't think any of us really liked the Silver Sable Hammerhead one that much. I didn't like it.
Was that the second one or third one?
The third one. The second one was Yuri and Hammerhead.
Okay. Again, Black Cat was my absolute favorite.
Yeah, that one was.
DLC layers are hard on difficulties higher than amazing, and Hammerhead boss fights in the second DLC episode has the irksome bit of camera and tight spot and hard to move Spidey. Heroing says, I personally liked it, but I think the story was good, but it didn't hit me as hard as the last one, but I think that could be less attachment to Miles. Yeah, the ending of the last one hits you right in the guts. This one, I feel like we're introduced to a character, and then she's gone. You know, by the end of the game.
The characters here felt more like plot devices and like obstacles rather than fully fleshed out characters. I think the only one that really transcends that trend is his mom. That's because we got to know her in the last game.
Yeah. All right. So, Javi, take me through the plot. What is the plot of this game?
It's about a year from the events of the last game. Because they make reference to the fact that last year the raft breakout happened. Right. And Miles has been under Peter's tutelage in kind of like a makeshift Spider-Man costume where he's just wearing a mask and like regular street clothes. Mm-hmm. So they're helping to oversee transfer of prisoners back to the raft. And there's a very large cage that's being helicoptered through the city, and the person in said cage starts swinging around, causing it to break. And when Miles and Miles and Peter, who are kind of going along with the convoy to make sure everything goes smoothly, Miles tries to intervene and just kind of makes it worse because of his inexperience. And the Rhino gets out. So the two Spider-Men break up. Peter goes after Rhino since he's had more experience with him, and Miles is left to handle the other raft inmates. But things go a little bit haywire and the two things converge, and Rhino winds up taking out Peter momentarily, and that's when Miles discovers he has a bioelectric blast that he can use, and that helps defeat the Rhino. Roxxon Corporation shows up, and they've got a lot of high-tech guys, and there's a Simon Kriegler, who is
I think it's Krieger,
who's the CEO, and he kind of plays the benevolent figurehead, or at least that's what he shows to the outside world.
Did he remind you of anybody? I think they were going
Eddie Brock from Spider-Man 3.
Oh yeah.
Oh, like a Topher Grace. I can see it now.
Totally play him.
I can see it now later. Like when do we care about like spoilers later on or?
No. We warned them. There's spoilers. So go ahead.
But like when Krieger's revealed to be like the bad guy, he goes banana. Like when in Spider-Man 3 when Topher Grace just walks in the bugle.
Yeah.
So after they wrap up the Rhino, Peter tells Miles that he's got to go on a working vacation with MJ for the Bugle. He's going to take photos for an assignment that MJ has, and that Miles is going to be in charge. And he makes Miles take the Spider-Man oath, and he leaves Miles a present. Miles opens up the present in front of Genki, and it's a new Spider-Man costume just for Miles. It's got arm pads and knee pads. It's more in Peter's classic color scheme, but without as many webs. And it's very, very, very similar to the outfit Miles first wore in Ultimate Fallout when he was trying to live up to Peter Parker.
By the way, I've got a picture of Krieger, and that totally looks like Topher Grace.
He's so
punch me.
He's a peroxide Topher Grace.
The hydrogen peroxide Topher Grace.
Yeah. There you go. Thank you.
So you were talking about the new suit that Peter gives Miles. I've got a picture of it. Okay. So let me pull this up.
Much like the first game,
this is his first
some of the
costume.
suits are woven into the fabric of the story.
Right. So this is like the blue coat, the hoodie, and this is the suit that Peter gives Miles. It's got shoulder pads, knee pads, and it doesn't have Air Jordans. It's got Adidas on there.
Yeah, and it says first appearance Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, but that is not correct. He wears something very, very similar in Ultimate. I think it's Ultimate Fallout 4.
5. I think it's 5. I think it's Ultimate Fallout 5. If they went that far, either that or it was the first issue of his solo book, or one of the first few.
But it looks like
he's got essentially a costume that's very similar to that.
It's essentially Peter gave him an extra suit.
I'm surprised.
You can tell by the neck how everything's just a little baggy.
Right.
I'm surprised how big the lenses are. Like, they're not very. I would assume they would go for a very Pacelli kind of look with that, but they didn't. That kind of threw me off a little.
Yeah. But you can see the web shooters there, the knee pads, etc., and the Adidas. So, all right.
Peter did his best.
Aspect of the present that Peter had for Miles was he set up little hologram devices throughout the city so he can virtually train Miles in combat and maneuvering and stealth while he's abroad. So at this point in the game, you get to go around New York. You get to try out different things, get used to being Spider-Man.
Right. Kind of like the first one, you learn how to web shoot.
Yeah. And it's Christmas time. So as we mentioned before, the weather in this game brings a different element to it. And it's a lot of fun. And then because it's Christmas time, they're gathering for a holiday meal together. And after the last game, Miles and his mom had moved out of Brooklyn into Harlem. So they're still kind of setting up in their new apartment. Genki's there all the time. And we get introduced to Miles' friend, Finn. Apparently they went to grade school together and were really tight before Miles went to Visions Academy and met Genki. And we have a quick blackout.
Here's a picture of Finn. Spoiler alert, she's wearing a certain costume. Finn Mason.
Finn Mason. Yeah. I mean, that says it right there.
Why?
It kind of reminds me
of Mason.
It kind of reminds me of Carly Morgenthau from the Flag Smashers and Falcon Winter Soldier.
Was that their teacher? I think this picture.
No, that's her brother.
That's her brother. Okay, got it. The older brother.
Rick.
Yeah, and this looks like when they were a little bit younger. He looks similar to where he was in the previous game.
What's the and I should know this because I just read it recently. What's the 616 Tinkerer's name? It's something Mason.
It is Phineas Mason. It's the same name.
Phineas? Okay.
Oh, okay.
I could remember. Yeah.
Huh.
Actually, I think that concept art that you just put there with the pixie cut.
You like this one better?
Yeah, I kind of do. Yeah.
Yeah. She looks pretty. That looks pretty cool. Yeah, I like that.
But Rio, Miles' mom, is
definitely looks like a young teenager there.
Yeah.
But, yep.
She's running for office in New York, and she's having a big fundraiser. And Miles and Genki go to this event. We also get to meet Miles' uncle Aaron, who's kind of estranged from the family. And at this event, the underground attacks, and it winds up with Miles suiting up to go fight them on the bridge. And the thing they're stealing winds up exploding. And we meet the Tinkerer in this fight. And Miles has to, in a very Spider-Man 2-ish way, hold the bridge together and rescue people. And once everyone's saved, the Roxxon guys show up with all their heavy tech gear, and they're ready to take Miles down, even though he just saved everyone. And panicking, Miles goes into his camo mode for the first time.
Yes.
And he leaves. So in typical Spider-Man fashion, people are talking trash. Jonah's continuing his podcast, talking bad about the new Spider-Man now. Well, that's straight Spider-Man 2 right there.
It is. Or Homecoming even.
Yeah. I would say this is closer to Homecoming.
Yeah. This is the new lifting heavy things.
It is. Holding it is.
No, this is the 21st century version of the Master Planner story.
It's Spider-Man 2 with the subway, then Homecoming. Yeah.
Instead of lifting heavy thing, it is holding heavy thing together.
Yeah.
True.
So, given his new powers, Miles and Genki decide to design his own suit. We do a quick montage of that, of Miles still honing, his skills and drinking coffee upside down, until finally we see the full suit in completion as he runs up the side of the building.
Got it right here. Here is the suit that he designs.
I gotta say, they did a great job recreating
translating it
with the not tactical, but the what's the texture mesh.
I don't know.
I think at least part of it is mesh, but they did a really good job with the texturing on it.
And that's straight up from the comic more than the movies.
Yeah.
And there is
a comic version too, or they call it animated.
Right. From the Into the Spider-Verse. I've got it.
Well, there's the Into the Spider-Verse suit, which was DLC if you pre-ordered.
Yeah, I've got.
But then there's also an animated suit that looks more like the comic version we saw from the last game.
What? I don't remember that one. Help me with that one.
Towards the bottom, I think. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm using. Oh, I remember the end. I didn't. Like
here, this one.
Yeah,
this one. Okay,
that one looks very.
That's
very
flat.
There's not a lot of details to it. Yeah, I mean that looks like his ultimate comics Spider-Man suit.
I'm talking about the ultimate.
But cell shaded like.
So it looks like a comic book suit. Yeah.
Spider-Man. What did they? I forget what they call it in the PS4 game, but there was that cell shaded Spider-Man suit that.
Oh yeah,
I think it was cartoon.
Was it?
It might have been. You want me to check real quick?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, hang on.
But in the meantime, the universe opens up a little bit more. Miles's dad left him little gifts throughout the city that were supposed to be for his birthday, so you can do a scavenger hunt with that.
And this is one of the first Miles Morales stories where Dad's dead. I mean,
it's the only one.
Yeah, I mean, the comics he's alive. I mean, the Into the Spider-Verse
is not done yet, but
yeah.
Yeah, this is the only.
Interesting that he killed him, or they killed him in this story, in this universe. So
we get a little bit more with Uncle Aaron, where Miles has to rescue some stuff on the subway, and then that leads to the thing we talked about before, where he's got to piece the little music samples together to make the track. There's also. This is like kind of what Neil was saying, like this one quest where you had to find items that were personal to Finn and Miles, like that one I didn't feel as emotionally connected to. But knowing Miles' relationship with his uncle and with his dad, like I liked those side quests, but the ones with Finn's, I just wasn't really attached to, and I did it just to do it.
I think it's also because I think it was Nintendo Handheld, pointed out that Miles works better he doesn't work as well as like a techie guy. That's kind of Peter's domain. So Miles kind of just aping that concept feels a little.
No, he's always been smart because he got into
Brooklyn Visions. Yeah,
Visions. It wasn't he won the lottery, but his grades were good enough to get him in there. Like that doesn't feel out of character for me. But they definitely don't hit up the science thing as hard as they do in the first.
I found the still image of that infamous pigeons on the pond, but I absolutely
even the second time I had a hard time remembering what I was supposed to be recording.
What did you have to sample there? I got so frustrated with that. What was it?
I thought it was the pigeons, but they were like you had to camo over there so they wouldn't fly away because then you had to wait for them to come back.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
And you had to get within a certain distance that you could only do if you were in stealth mode.
Okay, that
if I'm remembering
going
right.
to stealth. That's what I kept messing up.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you continue with your little side mission threads. You find out more about the underground. During one battle, Miles realizes that Finn is the Tinkerer, and he also finds out that Uncle Aaron is the Prowler. So Uncle Aaron coaches him to infiltrate as Miles and not tell Finn that he's Spider-Man. So eventually it all kind of comes to a head where you find out that Rick, Finn's brother, invented this thing called New Form, which is the source of energy, but it also makes everyone really sick.
Yeah.
And Roxxon is doing it uptown in Harlem because they don't care if anyone who lives in Harlem gets sick and dies from it. So they cover up a few of the scientists' death, and Finn is basically out to get revenge on Roxxon.
I don't know why, but I thought of Fern Gully when you mentioned New Form.
I've not seen Fern Gully.
It's not even remotely similar. It just for whatever reason, I guess like eco-terrorism.
There you go. Or think of James Cameron Avatar then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Uncle Aaron's a little compromised because he's also worked freelance for Roxxon before. And eventually they get the Rhino out of prison and upgrade his suit with the kind of stuff that is more resistant to Miles's venom blasts. So Miles and Finn get captured, but they eventually break out of Roxxon. We do a flashback to when they were in grade school doing a science award and how they had to sneak in, where you meet Peter and Doc Ock.
That was cool.
That was a really good way to tie everything together. Where you see Peter and Otto before Otto.
Did you guys, when you were playing that, do what I did? Like, did you follow Peter Parker the whole way till he walked out? I'm gonna hang with you, dude. I'm with you.
My roommate and I were literally like cackling as we just followed him.
I did too. Didn't he eventually go to the bathroom, or where did he go that you couldn't follow him anymore?
Didn't he say like, Otto, I gotta go do something, and then he just walked off into a barrier zone?
Yeah, that's what I think he did too.
Yeah, bye, Tom Holland.
It's funny that I all three of us did that.
Well, it's fun, just like that, ambient music is like you're just staring at him, unblinking.
Then I went over and just started staring at Doc Ock too, which I thought was kind of funny. Oh, Nintendo says he went off to the bathroom to meet the Beyonder to learn how to pee.
he went to go fight. He went to go fight in Secret Wars with the Game Avengers.
Dude, Secret Wars would be such a good video game.
It will be a battle royale.
Oh my gosh, that'd be awesome.
Like an Injustice style.
Oh man,
I'm thinking of like an Apex Legends style battle royale where like you have a specific character with specific abilities and traits. That'd be kind of cool.
That'd be cool. All right, keep going, Javi.
So eventually we all get to the climax where Finn and Miles go to the top of Roxxon trying to stop everything. The Roxxon agents are going crazy throughout the city, so Miles is trying to save people on the way there. There's panic all over Harlem. And we eventually have a big fight where they take out the bad guy, but then we're still left with Finn and Miles having to have their confrontation. And Miles has to absorb some of the New Form energy, and it winds up building up, and he can't contain it anymore. Right. There's one of the mechanics through the game where you go through some of the labs and you have to blow up stuff using your venom blast, and because the energy builds up within Miles. And in order to save everyone, Finn modifies her Tinkerer gear into rocket boots and scoops up Miles and runs up the side of the building, a lot like Miles did when he first got his new costume. And
in the movie, yeah.
Or
in the video game, yeah.
In the game as well.
Yeah.
So they get up into the sky and she just tells him to let it go. And Miles explodes. Presumably killing Finn. Yeah.
Miles, let go. No.
And Miles explodes. Yeah.
And somehow he survives the fall to Earth. And it doesn't break any bones.
Video game logic, don't question it.
Or maybe the Venom Blast energy created a shell to protect him. That's my no prize answer.
Would it be like a web ball? Like he makes a web ball around himself and it just it just bounces off like an airbag or something? I don't know.
Sure. I was just gonna say sure. Albie and I were like, yeah, man, sure.
Yeah, whatever. Keep going.
But borrowing from Spider-Man 2 again, the reporters start to show up at basically ground zero for this event. Mm-hmm. And Miles doesn't have his mask on. His clothes are all in tatters. And the people of Harlem kind of form a human wall in between Miles and the reporters.
Spider-Man 2.
You want to get to him, you got to go through me.
Yeah, and basically say, oh, that's Spider-Man. And, let's Miles get away.
I think they say, he's our Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did like that line. He's our Spider-Man. That's interesting. Because Spider-Man... Peter Parker lives in, and I'm straight in the middle of the country, so I don't know New York that well. So, Brooklyn, Harlem is where Miles is from, so he would patrol that neighborhood more. And Spider-Man is Forest
Brooklyn,
Hills.
But he's currently living in Harlem.
Where in
the game.
New York would Spider-Man patrol more?
Peter lives in, I think, uptown or either downtown Manhattan near the seaport. Right. But I think he comes from Queens. But after he graduated and moved and went to ESU, I think he lived in Manhattan. I think lower Manhattan.
And he would have to cross the Gwen Stacy Bridge to get to Harlem, wouldn't he? They haven't renamed that bridge the Gwen Stacy Bridge, by the way. Well, they should. The Brooklyn Bridge, right?
The Gabo Bridge.
But anyway, he can't web sling all over New York City. So he can't be.
Well, I mean, it's all in Manhattan or in the general island of New York. So you don't go to the boroughs, really.
Okay. But anyway, I guess my point is I like that they said he's our Spider-Man. So
it was a good line. I don't think it was powerful, but I think it was a solid. I guess Semper Fi tier line.
It's funny. And I can't think of. Yeah, I can. So the new Spider-Man, Spidey and His Amazing Friends cartoon, they gave Miles a different name on the cartoon. Spin. So okay, what do you think of that? Do you guys?
They kind of had something with Kid Arachnid in the Ultimate.
And there was that whole thing that wound up being a rumor, I guess, where he was going to be Spy D, spy, and then the letter D in capitals.
Spider.
There was this whole theory that because his dad was ex-Shield.
Oh yeah,
they were going to recruit him, and that was going to be his new identity to separate him from Peter.
Oh yeah, from after Civil War II, right?
D.
After Civil War II, right?
Something. I think it might have even been before that. I might be confusing things, but
it's interesting that. Do you think they should rename him? I'm I don't know. There's when you have the Danny Ketch.
There's two Hawkeyes and there's two Flashes.
There's two Ghost Riders going back to the
90s. There's four Ghost Riders.
There's multiple Ghost Riders. So I guess
several.
But it's just hard when you say Spider-Man. Now you think of two people.
Just say Miles or Peter.
50 Captain Americas now.
Oh, I know.
We had 50 Captain Americas, didn't we? We had back in 2011 when Bucky was capped. There was the Captain America Corps.
I don't know if we should rename them or not. Anyway, I'm sorry.
This isn't important.
Yeah.
All right. Last we were on the story recap. So, Miles exploded.
Miles exploded.
No, we were on the he's our Spider-Man.
He's our Spider-Man. Yeah, they blocked him. Yeah, I got you.
So we cut to a month later, and Miles is fully comfortable now in his neighborhood. He's talking to all the people that you met throughout the game.
Right.
Be it the woman from Feast. The painter of the mural, Haley, who's another friend that he makes.
That was really cool. They put Miles next to Peter up on the mural. That was cool.
I liked that because they hinted that earlier, didn't they? Were
in the beginning maybe
you should put that new one up there, and they're yeah, maybe. And then I think he's not the centerpiece, but he's pretty prominent on it.
Yeah.
And that takes us up to the top of the rooftops, and Miles has figured out how to drink coffee upside down. And Peter finally joins them, and they swing off into the camera, and then the game picks up with a message from Miles's mom, and you can finish whatever quests that you didn't do before.
Right. I've actually got a picture of that mural that we were just talking about, so that's kind of cool. I like that. Anyway, you were talking about the mom. What?
After you get through the credits, Rio picks up and she talks to Miles a bit more on the phone. They talk about Finn. And that's really it for the story. You're just kind of playing around, finishing whatever you didn't.
Don't forget the post-credit.
Oh, yeah. My bad.
With Norman Osborn.
We see Harry in a very black, goopy vat.
Just call him Venom. He's going to be Venom.
And Norman Osborn telling Dr. Kirk Connors to get Harry out of there finally.
You don't have any of this stuff on you, do you, Parker? Parker?
Do you really think on the video game they're going there? Do you think they're turning Harry into Venom? Which I don't.
I mean, they've been setting it up for 2 games now, so I'd be disappointed if they didn't.
They did it in the Ultimate cartoon, so sure.
I mean, everyone's been Venom at this point.
There you go. So basically, the end credit you're through the eyes of Harry Osborn, because his eyelids close and the screen goes black and then open back up. And you're in that vat, and at the end of the previous game, the symbiote hit the glass,
and formed a little hand.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially after things like Venomized and King in Black, like who in the Marvel universe hasn't been Venom or symbiote?
Everybody's got that that symbiote on the bottom of their shoe, essentially, like dog poop.
Yeah, like if that's where they want to go, they've earned my trust with these 2 games. That I'm sure it's going to be a great story.
How does Norman become the Goblin in the next game?
What if he's already been the Goblin?
Yeah,
there you go.
This is my personal crackpot theory, but Norman, he was already the Goblin, and Peter just never managed to catch him, and then he just kind of put it away for a bit while he was mayor.
Well, the first game is 8 years into him being Spider-Man. I mean, I'm sure the Goblin's been around.
Either that or the Hobgoblin, like what they did in the cartoon where Hobgoblin appeared first. Yeah.
Avriel says, did you notice at the final phone call with Peter where Miles proposes Peter get a job as a teacher? Remind me of the JMS run. So yeah, I noticed that too. That was kind of cool. Heroing says, I like those phone calls too, and they seem like the post-credit scene for the game. One thing, Javi, you did not mention, I'm surprised you didn't, and let me get your reaction on Spider-Cat. What about this Spider-Cat?
There's like an entire subplot dedicated to Spider-Man.
Yeah, this guy,
His name is Spider-Man.
Yeah, another one. There's a third.
Yeah. And I was trying to hunt down the pop so I could have it for the podcast tonight.
Oh, there's a Spider-Man cat pop?
I think it's like a Miles.
It's the bodega suit.
Miles Morales.
And if you take him out of the box, the peg
Omega pop
the backpack where Spider-Man is, the cat.
Okay, let's see here.
He should just gone to the Bodega Cat's Twitter.
Which one is it? I don't see him.
It's not Omega, it's Bodega.
Oh, Bodega.
Yeah.
You tried. There we go.
Okay,
where's the cat and the pop?
So it's behind it. It's where the base plugs into him. There you go. Bottom left. Go down and look on the left.
Bottom right. Oh.
No, it's left. Right there.
Oh, there we go.
Which one? This one?
No, the one
to
on the left of that
corner. To the left of that one. There we go.
There you go. That's where it plugs in to the back. Into the backpack.
Oh, how cool. So you got to get the what's the?
I could have ordered it online, but it wouldn't have been here in time. So
the Bodega cat suit. Okay, that's a cool one. I might have to get that one. I don't have a Miles pop. I do like that though. There's another vision of. Oh, how cute! How cute! All right, where is this on Amazon? These darn things.
$15 and it comes in a clear plastic container, but it won't be here until the end of the month.
Oh, so you ordered that one? Oh, here's
I didn't get around to it yet. I was going to try and look around.
Ah, that's cool. Here we can look at Funko always goes nuts. Look at all these various Funko Pops that you can order. I like the one he's upside down here. That's cute.
Yeah, that one's really cool.
Yep. Okay. So that is pretty much the recap of the story, right? Anything else we need to talk about with that? Let's go through your pictures you sent me. Let me.
I tried to play a little bit with each suit throughout the game as we went through it.
Your screen caps, like you made these?
Yeah, those are photos that I made.
Okay.
But there were some suits where I just downright hated.
Yeah.
But I threw in these so you could see the new
Miles.
Peter Parker.
What's everybody's opinion on the face? I'm in the minority and like the face.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I think if they squared up his jaw a little bit and like gave him a more pronounced chin instead of like the weird butt chin he has, I think people would be a bit more accepting of it.
Let's take a look at
that one. Really looks like Holland there.
Yeah, that does look like. Is that where you follow him?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because I got it.
And when you go to photo mode, when you're Miles,
that's a pretty shot.
You can move the joystick around to change his expression on his face.
Oh yeah, that's funny. That's a little postcard. I never made those postcards. That's kind of cool though. I like the bodega cat up there. Very cool shot. That's like an LED mask.
Yeah, they have a hot toy of that coming out that has LED light up for the mask as well.
You can afford. People can afford those things. Wow,
aren't they like $150 or something? Hot toys?
No,
more.
Probably around $250.
Oh Jesus!
The cyborg one I think is like $260, $270.
Jeez.
This is the 2099 suit, which
it was.
I'm kind of iffy on because you can see the Miguel O'Hara influence in the Day of the Dead spider, but the hoodie gives it like a Spider-Gwen feel as well.
It does.
It's weird because like I don't know how I feel about like Miles getting.
I like the eyes.
The eyes look cool. I just don't know how I feel about like Miles using Miguel's symbol.
Yeah,
like Peter uses it in. I think
what is that? I don't like that suit.
See, I didn't like it initially either, but then I started playing around with it. I'm like, it's weird and quirky, but I kind of dig it now.
Oh, okay.
I think this game, because it didn't feel like the need to go like recreate every costume. I feel like it was able to experiment a lot more with the costume designs. I think some of them really worked, like the LED one. I really liked that one.
When you get this costume, does it change the color of the cat too?
No,
I don't think it was a black and white cat.
That was another cat rescue mission I did.
Oh, well, I didn't do those missions. I didn't know you got to.
I think that was on the
cats.
So something I forgot to mention. Genki develops an app, a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man app, where people can request Spider-Man's assistance, and that was one of the missions. Was some guy's cat ran away?
Rescue cats. Okay. There's more of that suit.
This is the end suit.
Yeah,
I thought it was the same one.
That had a really cool cover, but the art inside wasn't really good. And Miles is like the mayor of.
Oh yeah,
like what's left of something. Yeah, like what's left of New York, I think. Yeah.
Can you zoom in on that, Brad?
Yeah, I can.
The graphical fidelity on that. This was recorded on PS4. The graphical fidelity on this is insane.
Not really. No, Navi.
It's not working.
You're zooming everything.
Capture.
You're zooming everything except the picture.
No, right?
The fact that you have like the detail inside the hoodie of like the way the cotton is.
Yes, I was just noticing that. Yeah. Well, it is cold. That would be a good suit for the cold, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another look at it.
Another version of it.
Man, I remember that.
I kind of like that suit. That one being one of my favorite ones, even though I don't really care for the story it came from.
Oh,
but
that story.
The problem with in comparing like Miles's skins to Peter's, like Peter has over 50 years, almost 60 years of different things to pull from.
That's true.
Miles doesn't. It only has a decade, and he's been pretty consistent. There haven't been a lot of alternate versions.
Yeah.
So emotionally, it's hard to get connected to one unless it's like the classic one or Into the Spider-Verse.
Those those lenses are kind of cool. I kind of like that.
I think it works at a certain angle.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I agree. That's
a newer DLC that dropped a couple months ago. It's Miles's version of the advanced suit.
Oh, okay. I see that.
I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of it. I think it's the plating. There's too much of it. The advanced suit for Peter is a lot better integrating the
Carbon
white
fiber.
spider in. Yeah.
This reminds me a little bit of the Iron Spider suit.
Yeah.
And this is the Harlem Pride suit.
Man, even the
It's
cat's
basically-
glowing.
It's the no way home costume.
Yeah, it's basically a gold version of his regular suit.
Got it. And this looks like the Iron Spider version.
Well, see, this is the what is it? It's not protomatter. I'm blanking on the name. But basically, when you do a finishing move, the arms come out. It's not every time, but
never did
I
that
don't
on my
know
game.
how to trigger it. But every fourth time, maybe I do a finishing move in that suit. Specifically, those arms will pop out.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Whoa, what's that one?
So it's this suit, but without the arms.
Got it. Ooh, that's a cool looking shot.
That's the Prowler one, right?
Yeah.
Look at those tiny eyes. That's cool. That looks like the Prowler suit also.
And I really liked how they added in different. They kept a lot of the same things from the first game, both in terms of like frames and fonts and filters. But then they had specific Miles things.
Oh,
did you guys find Stan Lee?
I did not. I didn't even know to look for him.
Yeah.
I will say.
What's the story with that? Let's say dedicated with love to the man who nourished the hearts, minds, and soul of true believers everywhere. Excelsior. That's nice.
You get a trophy for finding it.
Oh, that's
cool. I will say that I haven't done it at this angle yet, but the Into the Spider-Verse suit does a really good job of integrating texture and lighting wise with the rest of the photos, especially in the photo mode.
Is that a squirrel or a rat down there by his feet? What is that?
That's a squirrel.
That's me. I'm a rat.
And that looks like all your pictures. You were talking about trophies. Let me pull. I thought it'd be cool to go over a little bit of the trophies that you can get for this game too. Let's see.
I'm at like 97%, and I'm always going to be at 97%. I think.
Yeah,
because the last one I need to get is get 100 combo, and
100 combo. How are you going to do that?
Yeah, I'm not skilled enough.
I couldn't tell you
how to practice.
I couldn't tell you which trophy. You want me to call my roommate live on stream?
No.
Hey man, pull your PS4 out of storage. Look up all your achievements.
Here is. Oh, is this me? Oh no, I guess I could log in. I could show you what my trophy is.
You might want to. Please tell me your password is like blanked out.
I don't know what my password is. Okay, we're gonna go back. Anyway, here are all the different trophies that you could get for the game. Let me see if I share the screen correctly. Yes. Collect all the trophies called Be Yourself Trophy. Unlock all the skills. 100% complete all districts. Collect all time capsules. The time capsules are what him and Finn put in the ground, I guess. Or put around town. Collect all the postcards. I forgot about that. Open all underground caches. Shut down all Roxxon labs. Shut down all underground hideouts. Purchase all the suits. Unravel a criminal conspiracy in Harlem. Complete an enemy base without being detected. Perform 100% combo. That's the one that you don't have, right?
Yeah, which is... So basically I don't have two because I need that one to get the final one, which is get them all.
And that's a lot of intricate button pushing to get that one.
And a lot of spider sense.
Yeah. Launch, swing, and dive trophy. Get spectacular better in the spider training. Gets punching pixels. Get spectacular better in the training. Oh, that's when you got to fight his 3D stuff that Peter left for him, right? The training stuff.
Mm-hmm. Peter Parker can't afford rent, but can make holograms.
He can make holograms. He used scraps from the 30th anniversary covers. Dodging light, get spectacular better in the stealth challenge. Spider training complete every spider training. Pete's first villain, compete the final test. What was that one? Pete's first villain.
I think that was the Vulture.
But the Vulture wasn't in the game.
He's in the VR stuff.
Yeah, he's in the train. He's in
I
the
think
training
he's like
simulator.
he's the boss battle when you do the final bit of training.
Okay. Kit Bash, Craft 10 upgrades, Rhino. Riding the Rhino was kind of fun through the mall. I enjoyed that part. That was really kind of cool.
I usually am not a big fan of QuickTime events, but I think that it did a good job of making it feel intense enough that you felt invested.
Deep Cuts is the trophy I'll never get because I don't want to collect all the sound samples and recreate the Davis Brothers mix. No interest in that. I'm not doing it after that pigeon
But
thing.
you get that awesome Prowler suit, though.
I'm out.
I will never be the Prowler.
Hanging by a thread, keep the bridge together. I did that one. That's a fairly common one. The core of the problem, investigate Roxxon's underground lab. I probably got that one. True Deception, complete the vault sequence in the underground. Undercover, the Harlem Express, get the trains running again. I think I did that. I remember that was cool on the PS5 when you were pulling things. The triggers give you a little feedback, so it's kind of
cool.
Like your
the dual
haptics.
It's dual sensor, dual shock.
That's one thing we didn't mention at the top of this episode. You two played on PS4. I played on PS5. Those triggers are interesting. I've used them on several times. It's a kind of a new experience. What's weird I found on the PS5, that joystick's loud. Like you can hear the stuff moving inside of it. I didn't notice that with the PS4, but I hear like gears moving inside my joysticks now, which is kind of a new experience.
I have a friend. I didn't get to play it on PS5, but I have a friend in I think Seattle who plays the game on PS5, and he said that the PS5 controller is a marvel of game engineering.
Oh yeah, I dig it. I'm looking forward to what they're going to do more with it. Velocis Skates, chase Tinkerer through the city. I think I've done that. Shared history, walk through Miles and Finn's past. Exploding bulldozer, defeat Roxxon Rhino. Family drama, defeat the Prowler.
That sounds like a variant cover of the Roxxon Rhino.
The ultimate sacrifice. You got to save Harlem from the rafters. Perform 25 ceiling takedowns. Climb the walls. Perform 25 wall takedowns. Invisible spider. Defeat 50 enemies while camouflage. Nope, I didn't do that. I couldn't even figure out the pigeons that I had to be camouflaged. Overcharge. Defeat 100 enemies with venom attacks. Oh yeah, that's Miles' trick, isn't it? That's his main weapon.
The Bendis button.
His Bendis button.
What works, in the game is different than in the comics, though. We discussed that on a Satellites review.
Yeah,
like it should wear him out in the comic to where he can't use it all the time, but in the game you want to have the mechanic.
And I will say they actually did a really good job integrating that mechanic into the combat loop.
Yeah,
I was worried that was going to be like an instant win button, but they did a really good job of just making it non-invasive.
Yeah.
So we got
the Roxxon guys are prepared for it.
Yeah.
I don't think I need to read all these, but there's a lot of them. Best fries in town. Pay your respects to a legend in the Upper West Side. Is that Stanley one?
You can see the glasses. Those are supposed to be Stan's glasses.
Let's see. What's another one? Craft a suit. Craft a visor. Pay respects at Jefferson Davis's grave in Harlem. I didn't know that one. Oh, is that where you got to take a selfie? Is that paying respects? That's so That is not paying respect.
No. The paying respect. The funeral, the dancing casket guys.
Oh my gosh. I'm on a boat as a trophy. Ride the derelict boat in southern Chinatown. Okay, I didn't do that one. Socially acceptable. Scroll through the entire social feed at the end of the story. Oh, I guess that's on the apps, the Miles app. And then ++ complete the game on New Game Plus. So essentially play the game twice. Another thing I wanted to show off. Let me see if I can pull it off. Pull it up here. We kind of previewed it with Javi's pictures, but I wanted to go through all of them. I looked, and there are 19 different costumes in this game. So let me keep going back.
How did you guys play? Did you stick with whatever suit the game gave you, or did you trick it up when you played the first time through?
I like I can pull it up right here. No, not the animated suit. I guess the basic suit, whatever that one's called. The classic suit. So this is the one that I played the most on.
Yeah,
I just upgraded it.
That's the one me and my roommate ran with for most of the gameplay.
Honestly, the other one I played with was this one, the Into the Spider-Verse suit. I just thought that one looked visually cool.
I love putting the Into the Spider-Verse mode on to where it makes it look like the movie, where it drops the frame rate.
That's cool. So I've got this Polygon.com did a screen cap of all the different suits, so I thought we'd go over the different 19 of them. So this is the first one that you start with. This is the basic suit with basic hoodie. He's got gym shorts, it looks like. And
This is the not Into the Spider-Verse suit where like it barely misses the mark.
Yeah. The Great Responsibility suit, we've shown this one. This is the one that Peter essentially gives him an extra Spider-Man suit that he's got. And he puts that one on. The homemade suit
that were for sale.
You what?
Was it from Into the Spider-Verse or was it from this game where there was like 300 pairs of like custom Nikes and they sold out in like a minute?
I think it might have been both.
This one I think is supposed to invoke like Peter's wrestling suit.
I thought it was supposed to be like the homecoming costume.
Yeah, that's how I took it.
Oh, okay. I think it looks like Andrew Garfield's wrestling.
The one where he just goes out and beats people.
That.
The one where he just goes out and assaults people in the middle of the street.
I don't like this one. I don't know why. The tracksuit.
I like it.
If the white was a bit grayer, I think it would work a lot better. But as it is, it just contrasts way too hard against the red.
Well, as a spider, you wouldn't want to have a white suit primarily because it would get so dirty from all the wall crawling and practically you wouldn't want it.
This is the animated, so
this is the ultimate Spider-Man cartoon suit. Yeah,
that's cool. Brooklyn Vision's Academy suit. So he's got his coat,
also very homecoming.
His Beats by Dre.
More like Sounds by Stark.
No, we're not. No, stop.
I was trying to think. There's no Dr. Dre in the Marvel universe, possibly. So who would make really overpriced headphones? Stark. The Crimson Cowl. Is this what you were talking about?
The claw would make.
That's
headphones.
My least favorite suit, I think.
Okay.
It kind of grew on me a little bit. Yeah. Like if they took away like a lot of the extra detail, like the Jim Lee lines, as I like to call them.
I'm not sure why they felt the need to give Miles the Gwen hoodie so many times.
They did give him a lot of hoodies. Oh, this is the one that you said it grew on you, the Crimson Cowl?
Yeah.
I don't like
the Crimson Cowl was the one before. This is the strike suit.
I don't like those raised webbings.
It's like he's got Ditko eyes, but like kind of like a manga.
This looks like more like a necktie. Doesn't this look like a tie?
Miles Morales commuting to work.
Hey, it's like the Rodney Dangerfield today. I get no respect over here in Harlem. You know.
Also that weird yellow line coming out of his armpit. That's really weird.
Oh yeah, that's a different one. Yeah, I'm not that big a fan of that.
Well, there's like that Kamen Rider one that got added to the first game. That's kind of similar to this.
This is called the End Suit. So this is from that story where it was horribly drawn, right?
The horrible one shot. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't notice he had camouflage pants on in this. That's interesting.
I like the boots. The boots provided kind of I guess tactical feel.
Boots with no fur.
It goes with the pants.
Yeah.
I think what I like about this suit is the eyes, and that spider looks pretty cool. The rest of it, I could give or take.
So here's a kind of weird opinion. The hoodie the hood only works with the jacket. Like it doesn't work with like the Gwen like the costume. The hood is sewn into
like that.
That looks awful.
This is the 2099 suit.
See the textures look great, but I don't like the hood. If you took away the hood or gave him a jacket, it would look great.
You know, Ben Reilly
arm spikes, just like Miguel does too.
Did you just invoke the 2017 Ben Reilly costume?
I was gonna say Ben never. Yeah, that one with the lips. But Ben in the 90s never lifted his hood up. Wasn't it always ripped off, or no? It was always down.
Yeah, it was always down. It was always down. He never had it on.
I honestly do wish we would see the original Scarlet Spider suit with the hood up. I think it would provide some kind of neat visual distinction.
This is the Spider-Verse suit. I played this one a lot. I like this one.
Yeah.
That one looks cool.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. We've got the classic suit, which we talked about. I probably played the game most with that. The previous game I played the most with the white spider. I thought that white spider.
See, I didn't think I would, but I wound up playing a lot of the first game in that.
I did too. I'm exactly with you. I was like, I'm going to do classic, but I'm like, no, I kind of like this one. Uptown Pride. Got yellow spiders invoking what the new No Way Home suit's got a lot of yellow in it too.
Yeah.
So.
But we'll talk about that tomorrow.
We will talk about that tomorrow. Which the winter suit, where he's got a scarf and Sounds by Stark headphones and
hang on, is there a sound thing that starts with K? Because I want to do a claw one. Hang on.
The main hot toy for the game in the classic suit has those accessories, so you can make them the winterized version.
Oh, that's cool. Miles Morales 2020 suit. This is like the LED light.
The Daft Punk Spider-Man.
Daft Punk. So I envision this like an LED sign, like you could scroll across like Beyond
the Daft this suit sponsored by the Beyond Corporation.
I know, right? Programmable matter suit. Oh,
that's the one with the special move will bust out with the three claws.
The Transformers 4 suit.
Roll out. I don't like that.
I got a Transformers reference
every episode, bro. The Purple Rain Prince suit. Purple Spider. I don't like that suit.
I actually like that one. I use it a bit.
If
it's one of those ones when you get to the end of the music hunt, Brad, and you're
gonna see you're taunting him. You're taunting him, Javi. This isn't gonna work out.
Uncle Aaron gives it to him, and you get automatically put into that suit.
I'm good. I do like the small eyes. Do like those small eyes. The Bodega cat suit. I did play as this one.
Let's go, baby.
Yeah,
I did play it. The cat. I'm a dog guy, but I like that cat. I thought that cat was fun.
And if you just let the animation run, like he'll just pop out of the bag and like swat at the air.
Yeah, that was cute.
I also like that Miles dances. If you let him just sit for a little bit, or
when you're
doing like the finger guns like Peter does, if you hit square when he's walking, sometimes he'll go into his little salsa dance. So I thought it was kind of fun.
One thing I did notice about when Miles is swinging, that's a little different than Peter. He falls a little bit different. Doesn't his back go a little bit?
He's a little more awkward because he's not.
I kind of like
it's a neat little attention to detail.
I did like that they swing different. Oh, there's 19 of them, and the Joe Biden suit evidently down here,
and the horny game.
What's?
Okay. Thank you.
I was just realizing they were crediting that as the
training suit
first appearing in the DLC.
So another thing before we get the pros and cons. This has got a nice showing of all the characters in the game. So we talked about Finn, Miles, Rhino. That is from a picture of Harry somewhere.
Yeah,
we don't really see Harry that much.
I think that's from Insomniac. What is with that haircut?
Yeah, what is up with that haircut?
Harry's not the type of hair that would stick to your skull long after you die.
After you're dead, yeah.
Harry
What's
Osborn
up with the Joker mouth too? It looks like the Joker.
Joaquin Phoenix plays Harry Osborn in the next Spider-Man movie.
Who is this a picture of?
That's his mom, I think.
Oh, that's Emily Osborn.
Yeah. Can we go back to the Harry picture?
I'm on Harry. No,
the other.
Yeah.
Introducing Harry Osborn, Manhattan metrosexual.
Anyway, so that's some pictures of the various characters in here. Let's look at Norman's haircut as opposed. That's more classic Well,
they tried.
They did try.
There was an attempt.
Yeah. Oh, are these concept arts?
I think.
Oh yeah, there's Emily Osborn. Emily Osborn looks like that gal from Battlestar Galactica and also Mandalorian.
She kind of reminds Katie Sackhoff.
Looks like Katie Sackhoff, doesn't it? There you go. There's a full picture of Norman.
My Goblin gliders are the best.
Oh, there's
Oh God,
Otto right
no
here.
deal.
Picture of heaven, stolen art. Okay.
Oh, pasture of heaven. Oh, I was like picture of heaven.
I thought it
Wow.
was picture of heaven.
Let me in there.
Rick Mason is the brother of Finn, right? You guys are
Yeah.
talking about? Yep. Oh, he died? What? How did he die?
Yeah, that's why Finn wanted revenge.
That's right, for the death of her brother. But how did he die? Because of Roxxon?
Because of the new form was
That's
It
right.
like poison. It
or
poisoned the
whatever.
water. It didn't like poison the water supply.
Here's Rio.
She looks nothing like either her comic or movie counterparts.
That's true. It's very
Yeah.
unique look
Like
for her. Here's some alternate art.
But something I appreciated in comparison with like the Peter game is
The Peter game. Sorry,
the
just
Peter game.
AKA Spider-Man.
Yeah. Well, they're both Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But, like, I liked the blending of his heritage into the game and into the dynamic. Like for me, this game felt more friendly neighborhood than the first game. Like there was more an emphasis on the people around him and the way he interacted with his mom. And like growing up, like I wasn't really taught Spanish, but my parents would throw in words all the time, like they do. Like it'd be one word in Spanish and the rest of it in English. Like,
Right.
that's kind of how I grew up with my parents. So
I
think hearing that in the game felt really authentic to me.
I think this is the first time we've seen like Miles with a focus on his Hispanic heritage rather than his African American heritage. Because usually people talk about Miles as like the Black Spider-Man.
There was some of it in Into the Spider-Verse.
No, yeah, but like this is the one. But because Miles is only parent here, that's where the dialogue is. That's what I'm talking about. Like,
okay,
and I'm also talking more about like online discourse about Miles. Is that
Vinkman has a question for you, Neil. He just showed up. What's the horny game?
Okay, so
it was a sponsored ad at the bottom. We don't know what. We didn't click on it.
Let me explain. Let me explain this. When you go on YouTube and you see a horrible ad for like what was it, Rise of Kingdoms, with a very attractive woman with very little clothing on,
yeah.
and it's meant to like be a microtransaction game where you play it based on the sex appeal of the ad. That's what we call the horny game.
What was it? What's that Sports Illustrated gal? Her name's Kate something, and
Kate Upton.
Kate Upton was advertising a game. I used to play that Trivia Crack or whatever on my phone, and before you played it, you had to watch her ad. I'm like, that was not a bad ad every time. Anyway.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute.
One thing unique about this game, as opposed to the previous Spider-Man game, we actually saw J. Jonah Jameson. We saw him, as opposed to just hear him. So when you're running on the Rhino's back, you go into
like he's doing a photo. He's doing like a Photoshop or a photo shoot.
Yes,
as Santa.
As Santa, that's right. That's right.
And like he's trying to come up with words to describe Spider-Man. He can't get angry, and then Peter and Miles like smash through the wall, and he starts screeching.
Yeah.
Right. So that was cool to actually see Jonah. So that was cool. And Jonah's lines, whoever does the voice acting of that is just great. Just great.
Would you say he's better than J.K. Simmons' voice delivery?
No one tops that one. I'm sorry, but
they're pretty comparable, I think.
I mean, the video game guy is obviously honing J.K. Simmons.
Yeah.
I mean, J.K. is the OG. Let's talk a bit about pros and cons. What's your biggest pros of this game?
Do we want to separate this into story and gameplay, or do we just want to do it all in one big go?
All in one. What do we like about it?
I really like like I just mentioned a moment ago, like the personal aspect of it. Like it still felt very much like a Spider-Man game when it came to the gameplay and swinging around New York. I still got that big thrill of just web swinging. Like
web slinging is so
the
cool.
mechanics of that are so easy to do, and it's just fun. But it had enough of Miles' personal story that it made it feel distinct and I wasn't playing the game wishing I could be playing as Peter. Like I was fully invested in what was going on with Miles's storyline, and obviously I'm not as invested in Finn as I am in Aunt May.
Yeah.
But for me, the ending was just as powerful as the ending for the last game. Even though I'm not attached to Finn at all,
yeah.
I feel like they earned, like it was his coming of age moment. And that's where it really struck
in
home.
That universe, yeah.
Yeah, for him, that was, him putting himself to the test, and, Peter wasn't going to be there to save him. I mean, that was all on him.
Wouldn't it have been more impactful if Gonki died?
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
But
they probably want to keep him around because, he's kind of Miles's not tech guy, but the
man in the chair.
Yeah.
Well, that's what makes the two different. Like that's like you have to have Miles and Genki, I feel. Peter, at least from the inception, was the loner. Like that's what set him apart. He wasn't a part of the Avengers or the Fantastic Four. It was just him trying to figure it all out. And that's what one of the many things that differentiates the two is Miles has a best friend to confide in and share things with. And I like having that separation.
And I think in this game it's implied that Peter kind of not intentionally self-destructs his relationships, but he does a lot of pushing people away from the dual identity stuff.
Well, and Amazing now they're trying to make Ned his best friend again. So he's swinging around.
Oh no. Anyway.
Anyway. Venkman says J.K. Simmons or Ed Asner is the better voice.
Oh.
Man.
Don't make me choose.
Mike Murdoch says Sony can suck it. With those exclusives, my money ain't good enough for Sony, or they want all my money. Suck it.
Okay, I will say he is Mike Murdoch, Matt Murdoch's evil twin brother.
Evil twin.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if he's playing a character in the comments section.
One of the impact of the ending, where you lose the best friend that you've had since childhood, the web slinging. What's some other pros? The cat mission was fun. I like the cat. That's a pro.
The photo mode. I was a big fan of the photo mode of the first game, and this one took it to another level because now you have control over the light source, where you can position the sun at different angles in the sky.
Really?
Where you can do a sphere light or
you are God.
Yeah, I mean you can really light and change the hues and everything, and like I spend just as much time trying to make like a cool looking image as I do just swinging around.
Am I misremembering? Did Miles charge up a cell phone in this one?
I don't think so.
Did he?
I think you're thinking of Shazam.
Oh yeah, my bad. And then I swear they both said, "Hey, charge my phone." I don't know.
They both have lightning powers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other pros, Javi?
I enjoyed the addition of the stealth with the camo and the venom blast.
Yeah.
I thought it made it fun. It gave you something different to do because I mean, basically the map is pretty much the same as the first game, but having the winter elements as well.
The winter,
which is another thing that tied in with the photo mode, is you can even customize that. You can turn that off if you don't want it. Also, when you go to make a picture, if you don't like the suit you're in, you can toggle through all the ones you've unlocked and change costumes there.
Oh, that's cool.
So, I mean, everything is just way more customizable than before.
Right. Neil, what's some of your pros? What'd you like?
So, on both a visual level and in gameplay terms, I think that what this game's biggest strength is that it refines the stuff that the first game set up. I mentioned earlier that we mentioned before the stream started that the combat wheel felt a lot less clunky to pull up, or the gadget wheel. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
The gadget wheel feels a lot less effort to pull up and select the gadget. The new gadgets were also really fun to use. I didn't feel like any of them felt out of place, even though.
What were some of the gadgets? Refresh me.
There's
There's one where it lifts everybody up off the ground.
Oh, the gravity wells.
That was in the previous one, but I use that one.
Well, there's like an electric one where you hit it at like a certain
The remote mines, I think.
Like there were like a remote mine, and it'll like send a shock and
the
knock anyone out.
the hologram decoys.
Right.
But I think
that was
I think
just a refinement of the Scarlet Spider suit.
Yeah, I think that was. I think they didn't want to just rehash that for a new suit tray, so they kind of just built that into the gadget wheel. But like Javi said, like there's a lot more improvements on like the quality of life and like the photo mode, the UI. I feel like they kind of just sharpened the UI, but it felt a lot crisper to me. The Venom blast stuff didn't feel as nearly as invasive as I thought it was going to be, which is really good. Because they could have easily just used that as like insta kill button, but I'm glad that didn't get too far in. I do like Miles' relationship with Genki and his mom. We'll get into Finn, and I liked Prowler, but we'll get into why I'm not exactly happy with going back to the Prowler well again.
What do you mean? We'll get to that in a second. Sorry.
It's basically like Miles has the one story, and it's that he finds out his uncle's the Prowler.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. It's not nearly as bad as like other interpretations, but like that I've noticed that it's a very constant trait across Miles's of stories where Miles is the main character, that he always has to find out his uncle's the Prowler.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's
kind of like Uncle Ben always dies.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 10 years of story for him, so that's one of the big moments. I don't fault, a different medium trying to capture that for a new audience for the first time.
No, yeah, it might just be like that we've seen it so often in 10 years that I've just kind of noticed it, and it's sort of like what happened with the movies, where like we know, okay, Uncle Ben's dead, we get it, get on with it. That's moving. That'll be for the cons section, but I think overall the game's biggest strength is the visual distinction between Peter and Miles, like making Miles more visually distinctive when web swinging. The quality of life enhancements, like Javi said, the photo mode has a lot more options. And generally, I think the story was fairly solid. If I don't know, it didn't capture me in the same way that it did, but it was a fairly solid story for what you were paying. Generally, I think that can probably sum up my pros, but they're not. It's not like they're small pros. They're pretty big ones. If I'm giving the game like a B plus or B plus A minus.
Like the file size of the game, I don't have it in front of me, but it's really close to the original game.
Oh, that's
neat. Which shows how much they put into all the graphics and boosting that up. That especially a shorter game is almost as big as the original.
Especially because they were also working on remastering the old one.
Right. Yeah. I literally, Javi, just found what you were talking about, the sideshow. Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Let's see here. $270 for this guy. It comes with the Bodega cat. Good looking figure.
And they've got one that's in the Bodega suit, so he's got like the red pullover.
Oh yeah.
And then they've got the 2020 suit as well.
Oh, that's.
I mean, how long ago was the first game?
2017.
3 years ago.
2017.
2017
or 2018.
Yeah, it's 2018.
God. Oh, okay. But I mean, I was in 3
college.
years.
I was in college when the first game came out.
Right.
Yeah. For a game that's 3 years old, they just announced another figure from that first game.
Wow.
For actually, Comic-Con.
Have some sales stats of the game, if it was successful or not. The first game sold 20 million units. So imagine $59.99 times 20 million. Again, they're not getting all the profits from that, but that was the very first game. The Miles game has sold 4.1 million copies.
So I will say this: people who are saying like Miles is a failure. Well, one, we were and are still in an economic downturn, and a lot of people are still waiting for the PS5 so they can play the PS5 version. And this is and 4.1 million units is by no means a flop. Compared to the original game, it's not like.
Well, you know what? I'm sorry, 4.1 million copies in a little over a month, so that doesn't take into account how many
have been sold since then.
So yeah. That's interesting.
And I thought also
Here's another article
that I read something that if you buy the PS4 version and you get a PS5, like it'll transfer over as a PS5 game.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah, it'll upgrade.
And also, isn't the original game like one of the best selling PS4 games of all time? I think it's like number 6 on number 6 in all of PS.
It did really well.
It's behind Call of Duty and Grand Theft Auto 5, which is the game that will never die. So
that game will not die now. But you guys have mentioned pretty much all my pros. I like that the web slinging. I like the cat. I like the snow.
The cat is a pro.
Cat. Maybe that cat should meet Black Cat in the next game. I think that will be fun. What do you guys think they're going to do with the Spider-Man 2 game? What's going to be in there? I was going
to ask you guys.
Big wheel.
Big wheel. I'm game.
I'm seeing something kind of like the first game, where you're not just playing as Peter, but now you're playing as Spider Miles, and maybe a little more stuff to do than Miles had in the first game.
So you think the next game will split? Because at some point in the first one, you played as Mary Jane. You walked around a little bit. So
I don't know how they're going to find the story to balance correctly, though.
Yeah.
I think it'll be like I'm hoping it's not like Halo 5 where like out of 15 missions the new character got like 12 or I think 12 missions and then like Master Chief got like 3 missions. I'm hoping like Peter and Miles share the screen time evenly.
I mean, the problem that they have with the next game is the first one was so good. It's going to be very easy to be disappointed, especially if they go to the symbiote well, which a lot of Spider-Man games have done.
So like Web of Shadows was basically centered around the symbiote.
Yeah, the symbiote invasion, which I like that game on PS3. I played that one.
Still haven't played it.
You still haven't played Web of Shadows?
I haven't played Web of Shadows on the PS3. I keep meaning to buy it and haven't gotten around to it. I played it on the PS2, and I do not recommend that.
Oh, that
for anyone.
Yeah,
that was really bad.
So also, I'm pretty sure the engine couldn't the hardware couldn't handle the engine the game was rendered in.
I think it was a side scroller, if I'm remembering it right. I could be thinking of the other
Spider-Man
game.
jumped up, he got a mushroom, and he got bigger. And
was it?
It was like a beat 'em up.
Was it Friend or Foe? Was the side scroll? I don't. There was that one game where you could be Spider-Man or Iron Fist, and you fought like.
I got that one on the Wii. I remember that.
The Defoe version of the Green Goblin.
Yep, I remember that. So let's list cons. Javi, what are your cons for this game?
I didn't care for. Not that I thought he did a bad job, but the guy who voiced Genki, to me, I don't know, maybe my ears are bad, but to me, he was very similar to Yuri Lowenthal's Peter. So I had a hard time distinguishing the two, especially like today. I was playing the movie cutscenes like on YouTube and just trying to refresh myself on stuff.
Yeah.
And like in the other room, like I couldn't tell who was talking to Miles.
Yeah.
So I thought they were a little too similar. I would have liked more audio distinction between the two.
Right. Another thing we didn't mention is this character. She has a podcast, Danica Hart.
Oh, this is the character from the 2015 Bendis run, right?
Yeah, this is the 616 book
version.
Yeah, the post-Secret Wars.
So in the game they go between her talking on a podcast, which Miles subscribes to, which I'm surprised Miles didn't download us. But
oh God, imagine me existing in Miles. That's
Miles
terrifying.
Like, Neil. What's Neil talking about?
It's like people. It's like whenever I come on the main podcast, what's he doing here? Bring back George and Jr.
But this in Miles's, when you're swinging around the city, you hear a bit of Danica in your ear. You hear a bit of J. Jonah Jameson in your ear. So
I liked her.
Yeah, I liked her too. She was not annoying like Screwball was in the first game, but she seems cool. So, another con hobby. What's another thing? Hey Ryan, what's up?
Hey Ryan.
Hi Ryan.
There was and I don't know if it's fair to call it a con. But I mean, they were limited in probably the time that they had, and in the villain pool.
Yeah,
I mean, just trying to think of it right now, trying to think of who Miles's villains are.
Exactly.
The Prowler.
With a blank, man.
The Prowler. That's
and
it.
How many
who's
years
got
did
the
I
good ass
review
cake? Who's got the good ass cake?
The Bumbler?
The Bumbler! Yes! Oh, by the way, before a couple days ago, when Javi and I were discussing the show, I was like, I should call myself the Bumbler as my name instead of Exaggerated Swagger.
You're right. Yeah. Who does Miles have as villains that aren't Spider-Man's?
The Frost Pharaoh.
The who?
The Frost Pharaoh from his solo run.
No.
Hold on. It was like issue 4, remember?
Yeah, I mean, I reviewed the book for how many years on the site? I can't think of. I mean, he had Katie Bishop. He had the Fly Twins.
You thought I was screwing with you?
No, it's a dude. I forgot about this. Egyptian
no, he was in that Bustos drawn backups. No, it wasn't a backup story. It was issue
22.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And I think I gave that issue a D because the art just did not work for that story.
So here's a good question: do we count Starling as a villain? Because they're more like.
But even still, she's like a Vulture.
She's like Vulture.
She's a Vulture knockoff, and she kind of operates as like
she's Vulture's granddaughter.
And her and Miles are hooking up, so it's kind of like a Batman Catwoman thing,
or Black Cat.
I didn't know her name was Tiana Toombs. Forgot about that.
At least you tried. There was an attempt, Javi.
Tiana Toombs. Look at the alliteration with the 2 T's. Nice.
I mean, he's in a weird place because he was in the Ultimate Universe for so long, so he had like a different Ultimate Scorpion than Peter fought.
He's got an awful Green Goblin to fight.
He had Ultimate Kangaroo and the ring and the Ringer.
So,
I guess he could use the Ringer.
Now that he's been in the 616, like he first came up against Blackheart,
who's like a mystic villain. That's more like a Doctor Strange thing.
Ryan, the Assessor.
Ryan says his friend thought this game was a lot easier to play than the first one. I thought they were comparable.
I thought they were pretty similar too.
Venkman says the Bogan Rider Bumbler bumbles his way to get the good ass cake. But that raises a very good, interesting point. Who are Miles Morales' villains? Unique to him, not Peter.
The Assessor is the only one I can think of, and that's like within the last year.
Oh, is that the one that cloned him?
Yeah. Do we count the clones as their own unique villains? Do we in the same way? Do we count like Kane as like a separate villain? That raises a lot of questions about like what do we qualify as a Miles villain?
I think the Assessor is. I think that's straight up Miles. I'll give you that one. I didn't know that's what he looked like right there. He looks like a mannequin at Old Navy.
Looks like he looks like Ash from Titanfall.
Oh my. Okay.
I mean, outside of that, like I can't.
I think they need to work on his.
I think villains. Okay. Hashtag.
I'm glad we got to. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Hashtag Bumbler and Miles Morales too.
Yeah.
We need to get a bougie cake chase.
Bougie cake.
Like I like that we had 2 different versions of Rhino, and we had the Tinkerer, but like in terms of if you compare the 2 games, where we had basically the Sinister Six, versus Spider-Man,
the
villains didn't have the variety of villains to fight, but
that's what makes this one feel like a DLC. Which I agree with you, they're limited to what they can do and the amount of time. I imagine after this one started selling well, Sony probably said, hey, can you make a game really fast so we can launch the PS5 with it?
But I mean, that's also a limitation of the story, though. So I don't really, it's hard to say it's a con because this is his first time being Spider-Man. He hasn't exactly cultivated a rogues gallery, so it doesn't make sense for him to have a whole bunch of people either.
However, the next game, Bumbler time.
Bumbler.
If we don't get his classic catchphrase, "This some good ass cake."
He needs to be like the Shocker in the Ultimate Spider-Man game, where he's just a little bit better than one of the random people.
Oh,
but you can take him out in like 5 seconds.
I'm not going to share my screen right now, but don't go to Google and search for images and then type in the keyword "good ass cake bumbler." I have a bunch of butt cheeks everywhere.
Oh no!
Oh my! Let me put in Miles Morales, and
you're gonna go to. It's gonna have links to R34.
There it is. I got it. Yeah, I can unsee some cakes that were happening there.
What have we done?
Oh, let me find the good ass cake. There it is.
Oh, I have it. I have it. I sent it to you in Facebook messages.
Open image in a new tab.
Oh God.
Make sure I don't show the search that just happened. For those wondering, there you go. That's the Bumbler's line. That's some good ass cake.
This some good ass cake.
This some good ass cake. We don't want to. Mike Murdoch.
It's bougie cake.
Bumbler not in the game. 0 out of 10. Vinkman. Oh dear God, Brad, what have you done? I know. So feel free to type in "good ass cake" and Google Images.
No, don't encourage. No,
yeah.
Brad. Stop.
I guess my cons, it felt a little smaller than the previous one, and I got through it a lot quicker than I did the PS4 one. Any other cons?
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I wasn't particularly emotionally invested in Finn.
Yeah, like Aunt May.
Yeah. Like you mentioned earlier, they had a really high bar to set with, or a really high hurdle to jump with Aunt May, and Finn just came off as kind of a flat character, especially when her entire character is just let's take down Roxxon, which is like every character in the Marvel universe that has a brain. So she's not exactly unique in that regard. Also, Roxxon was a really weird choice for villain. I get that they needed like a megacorp to make the bad guy,
but that's like their standard. It's always Roxxon.
No, I know
it's either that or AIM like the Avengers game.
But my point is more like, Roxxon is not what you expect as like a Spider-Man villain.
Mm-hmm.
If they want, I would say Tricorp, but I'm not sure if that would work or not.
Well, that's where you're wrong, Neil, because back in 1991, Iron Man, Spider-Man, and who was the third one, Brad? They did that crossover.
Oh, Moon Knight.
The three. And Moon Knight over the
Moon Knight and
Punisher
annuals. And Darkhawk, I think.
No, not Round Robin, the Sidekick's Revenge. There was an annual crossover.
Oh, that was Iron Man. And Black Panther was in it.
Black Panther.
Black Panther, yeah.
They fought like the Ghost and Roxxon.
I remember those. Yeah,
precedent.
Yeah. There you go.
Why don't they just fight Alchemax by that logic?
I'm game with Alchemax.
Been invented yet? No, wait, no, they have been because they were in the game. They were in
that Peter David written one, Edge of Time.
Yeah, but no, they were in the game because I made a photo. I put on the 2099 suit, and there was an Alchemax sign.
So I just feel like Alchemax would have been more. It would have been a bit weird, but it would have been a more natural one. Like, oh, here's Roxxon, I guess.
So, before anything else we want to talk about, I'll open it up for questions from the audience.
Going back to the Prowler well again. It kind of comes down to Miles is a lot newer than Spider-Man, so he doesn't have as many stories to use. But like, it's very easy to. It's like the third adaptation in a row, I think, where we've gotten
the Prowler.
It's the Prowler guy. Uncle Aaron's the Prowler, guys. Bet you didn't guess it. I will say that at least here they didn't like try to play it. They didn't try to play it off as like a shock. They kind of just assumed everyone's like, oh yeah, Uncle Aaron's the Prowler. What a shock. Right. But it feels like we're just kind of retreading that water again.
Yeah. I think that just depends on your level of fandom. If you're just a gamer who picks up the new Spider-Man game, you're not going to have that immediate tiredness that you specifically felt with it.
Yeah.
I think it's fair that they go to that well because like we just discussed, there's not a lot of options for Miles. And it is a big part of his story, and it's not something we've seen in game form yet. So I kind of feel like, for me, I enjoyed seeing a slightly different take on it, and I feel they wove it in well enough to give that extra layer.
And it might also be they set a really high bar for that particular storyline with Into the Spider-Verse, where it felt like there was a lot more emotional connection with Aaron. So I don't know. Maybe it's just like it felt like it was not necessarily derivative, but it was riding the coattails of something that did it way better.
Ryan says Bumbler and Gog feels like we're having a preview of the next review show. Exactly, Ryan. That's very true.
Going in, like I mentioned before, like I knew it was going to be a shorter game, so
yeah,
you
weren't disappointed.
That didn't really affect my score or my enjoyment of it because I knew, and it was a cheaper game too. By like it was 40 versus 60.
It wasn't for me because I got the PS5 remastered of the previous one, yeah.
But it didn't have anything as offensive as like Screwball.
Yeah.
So it kind of got an edge there of the first one. Okay. Something I forgot to mention on the pro side was the score.
The score.
John, I want to say it's Paisano, but that's not it.
Hey, Paisano's at the Super
Show. John Paisano's in the game.
John Pacino.
The score for the Netflix Daredevil show as well. He's done a lot of stuff.
You're talking about music score. I was thinking about a video game score.
No, it is John Paisano.
I think it's Paisano.
Paisano, but he took all the themes that he did for the first game, and then added in like a hip hop element to it to make it feel fresh and more contextualized for Miles. But then came up with new themes for like the Tinkerer as well, and as soon as that came out on iTunes, I bought it, and then
that's cool.
Of course, I had to do a vinyl, so then I had to get it to match the vinyl from the first game.
I have a problem, sir.
I have a little bit of a Mondo problem.
I do want to give Javi, I want to back Javi up on the score. It's really good. Like they I think they did a lot better this time of like not only giving Miles a fresh theme and a fresh anthem, but they also did a better job of giving the villains more distinct what's the word? There's a music term for this.
Like
motifs. Yes. Like Roxxon sounded a lot more oppressive. Like it gradually became more oppressive as like their plan became visible. Tinker felt a lot more techno based or EDM based. I think they did a really good job of mixing those in to their motifs and making them feel a lot more visually distinct, because one of the problems I had with the first game's score was that Peter was the only character who had like a very distinct motif, and then his motif kind of bled into everything else. Even though like the boss fights for the Sinister Six, his score, his style of music just kind of bled into everybody else's, and so this did a bit better job of making each villain feel more audibly distinct, as well as visually distinct.
I did like the soundtrack for Miles when he was on screen walking around Harlem and stuff like that. I thought that was very cool. I forgot about that. That was even with the trailer, you could hear some of that music in the background. That was really set him apart.
There's a Jaden Smith in there, right?
Yeah. Jaden Smith did do the soundtrack to this, didn't he?
He did.
He did a song.
Yeah, he did a song. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so that was cool. All right, we will take questions from you guys. If you would like to ask us some questions before we wrap this episode up. Venkman says, next time Neil is going to do a Baking with Bogenreier segment, he needs to make some good-ass cake. He does need to make some good-ass cake.
I will cook it downstairs.
You need to make it yellow to match the Bumbler's color scheme.
I have yellow cake.
There you go. Ryan is going. He will see us tomorrow. That's not
a question.
It is not a question. We'll take a couple questions if you want to ask us. Speaking about tomorrow, if you guys want to tune in tomorrow, starting at 8:00, these two gentlemen will be on this episode along with Kelly and Ryan and Tyler.
Satellite Crew's taking over.
Satellite Crew is going to do...
Move aside, George and JR. Yeah. The boys are back in town.
So we've got wrapping up the Chameleon Conspiracy and a prelude to the Sinister War. Going to review ASM 69, the giant size ASM, and 70.
Neil, we're breaking out from the paywall, buddy.
And then
I'm back on top.
On this one, let me zoom this out a little bit. There we go. We're going to talk about Spider News. So we're going to talk about all the various costume changes that we're seeing for the No Way Home movie coming up.
I'm wondering if that's a real, not that it's not a real picture, but I wonder if that's an error.
What?
The figure on the right,
this one
has red gloves, where other images, there was another image where he didn't have those.
Maybe it's a toy variant. I don't know.
Maybe.
I'll
have to find them.
So you know how I think I've made jokes about this, that like the 80s the cartoons of the 1980s were like just toy adverts disguised as cartoons for 22 minutes.
You mean like Transformers?
Yes.
Hold on, Vinkman has a Transformers question. Favorite Autobot and Decepticon for me?
Okay, so I need to think about this. So
what's to think about? It's Optimus Prime
or Bumblebee.
No, it's Optimus Prime.
I was gonna say either Jazz or Skids.
I don't even know what's
he's
barely remember
Jazz is Scatman Crothers.
and then Jazz is and then Jazz is the, or not Jazz, Skids is the blue, like not Chrysler. And I guess my favorite Decepticon is either Blitzwing or not Dirge. He's one of the cone heads.
Oh, one of the planes like Starscream.
Because there's two different kinds. There's the Seekers, which are like Starscream and his carbon copies like Thundercracker and Skywarp, and then there's the sweeps are
Am I getting confused?
The sweeps are like they're either Scourge or Cyclonus's minions after they get reformatted by Unicron. I guess we'll say my favorite is Soundwave. Soundwave's awesome.
Vinkman, you have taken a hard left of this. But I will answer the question too. When I was a kid, I like Javi, loved Optimus Prime. But I thought this was the coolest toy in the 80s. Boom, Omega Supreme. I thought he was so freaking cool. And he was a $40 Transformer. And I got him for Christmas. I know. That's like... But anyway, he was a little tank and he had a rocket. And he was like the... all the little Transformers, the size were odd. So this was like a base for him that I used to play with. I love that one.
What did you think of? Was it Metroplex?
I had him. He wasn't as cool as Omega Supreme though, but he was in the movie, wasn't
he? Which one?
Devastator.
I got
one of my all-time favorites.
Devastator in the movie is so weird. For one thing, he killed a computer at ILM because he was so big. He literally like fried a computer.
What movie?
Transformers 2. He's the one that John Turturro hangs under the scrotum, like the wrecking ball testicles.
Oh, that was so awkward. Yeah,
but like, what's weird is
that looks cool.
But what's weird is that like in the first movie, Optimus killed Bone Crusher, who's one of the components of Devastator. So for whatever reason, Bone Crusher's just there again. I guess
it's Michael Bay. Favorite Transformers.
I mean, that's
Optimus and
Soundwave was the first one I got.
Soundwave, yeah.
But then I also one year got like I think maybe like Devastator for like my birthday, and then the following.
Did you get the Devastator gift box where it had all of them in there?
Yeah,
that's what I got too.
And then I got Superion.
Oh, the aerial box.
I was big into jets, back then. So
yeah, I remember those. I remember the Predacons.
Yes,
those are the
Insecticons.
I was about to say I was about to say that's Monstructor, but that's a Terrorcons, right?
Yeah.
Or that's a bomb. Or is that a bomb?
I was out by the time we got the Terracons and the Headmasters.
Yeah. I wanted to get a Headmaster, but I was like you. I was kind of getting out of it. I got the Marvel comic.
Yeah,
but I never really got any of the figures at that point.
Vinkman's answer is Optimus Prime and Starscream.
No one says Power Glide, even though he's the only one that got lucky.
Hey, look, we have someone that's asking a Spider-Man question.
Hey.
Are we going to see the marriage in the PS games at some point?
I don't know.
That would be pretty cool.
I mean, this is an older Peter Parker in these games.
Yeah. And he reunited with MJ, so maybe they end the second game with the marriage. That'd be pretty rad.
As we've seen, Insomniac is willing to take chances, knocking Aunt May out.
Yeah.
Might as well marry him off.
So Peter and MJ get married at the end of the next game. On their honeymoon, you get a solo Miles game.
How about the Foreigner?
Because, or you do that.
You know what Insomniac has is the ability to print money, because they now have 2 legitimate Spider-Man games that they could do a Miles Morales 2, they could do a Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3, Miles Morales 3. They have 2 different streams that they could just print money with. Like 1 year is the Spider-Man 2 game, and then 2 years later is the Miles 2 game. Yeah. And then they could space this out every 4 years for a bigger Spider-Man game, every 2 years for a Miles game. It's just a very smart business move, I think, is what they're doing.
And they've got, I think, a big enough studio that they could do it for perpetuity until like they just want to do a new IP.
Kind of like Activision. They put out a Spider-Man game every 3-4 years, didn't they?
They put out a Call of Duty game every year.
Oh, well, there you go.
Along with those Spider-Man games every 3 years.
I don't know what Matt's talking about. He says, I'm currently reading Hardwired, book 1 of a trilogy. Have you read it? What is that?
I'm going to look it up.
Transformers.
Oh, Matt, did we go back to Transformers?
Hang on.
I'm just guessing.
Hardwired the Hackers. Hang on, I'm looking this up.
Oh, my goodness.
Wait, was the topic depression? What? Is that the?
I tell you what, Google's giving you some weird results.
That was the genre of the book on Amazon. Here's the summary.
Oh my gosh.
Devour the addictive #1 New York Times series that sold over 1 million copies about a bad boy hacker billionaire and the whip smart woman This is someone's fan fiction. Why am I looking at fan fiction? Difficult to overcome a difficult past, Erica Hathaway has learned early on how to make it on her own. Twitter. Days after her college graduation, she finds herself face-to-face with a panel of investors who will make or break her fledgling startup. The only thing she didn't prepare for was going weak in the knees over an arrogant and gorgeous investor who was seemingly determined to derail her presentation. Billionaire and rumored hacker Blake Landon has already made his fortune in software, and he's used to getting what he wants with very little resistance. Captivated by Erica's drive and unassuming beauty, he's wanted nothing more since she stepped into his boardroom.
We're good.
Determined to win her over. This is okay. This is just like the Shark Tank version of 50 Shades.
Oh. 50 Shades of Transformers?
50 Shades of Shark. 50 Shades of
Shark. Hey, baby, let's roll out, you know?
50 Shades of Shark Tank. I'll invest $250K, but I get a 25% stake, and
I'm out.
All right. I don't know.
I guess all we have are Transformers questions. So let's wrap this up. By the way, this is the worst action figure of Devastator. Look what he's doing to Prime here.
There is no articulation. What the hell is this?
I actually saw that at Target like a month ago.
Is this one of the Cyberverse toys?
This is now probably
it's a reaction.
This is probably now a $40 Transformer. We have a question, and it looks like it's a Spider-Man question from Matt. Caseta won't allow the marriage in any media, I don't think. The novel I'm thinking about was released in 2003.
Oh, okay. Matt, I'm going to be real with you. Casada has no real power anymore. People who say he still does are vastly over-exaggerating.
All right. So, final thoughts, Neil, of the PS4 5 Miles Morales game. I recommend people get it.
Yeah, I'd recommend people definitely get this if they have a PS5 or PS4 and you have an extra $40 to spend.
$40. This is the same price as my Omega Supreme back in 1988.
Are we adjusting for inflation?
It all comes back to
Transformers. Every time, Neil, he gets me talking about Transformers.
It's not my fault. This game definitely has exaggerated swagger, and I seriously recommend you get it.
Oh, stop. Javi, final thoughts on the Miles Morales game?
I had just as much fun playing it as I did the first game. And if for some reason you're on the fence about it, I highly recommend you wait for a sale if you don't want to spend $40 but get this game. It's a worthwhile addition to the Spider-Man mythos.
You know, I also recommend it. I enjoyed it a lot. Not as much as the previous one. I gave it a B if you rewind. I think the other two gentlemen gave him A's.
B plus, A minus, but close enough, yeah.
Another game I was shocked that I liked, and Javi was very surprised when I texted him about this. I liked the new PS5 Avengers game, which Spider-Man is going to be a part of that, which is just shocking to me.
I don't think it's going to be Insomniac, man, but Spider-Man is confirmed.
Spider-Man is a legend. We'll talk about that on the
I think he's only on the PlayStation.
It's going to be like a DLC.
But, I mean, if you look at like Spider-Man game history, this isn't like Spider-Man 1 game versus Spider-Man 2 Toby game.
Mm-hmm.
This is more like the PS1 Spider-Man and then Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro, where everything just gets a little bit more refined in this second game because they knew what to do based on the experience of the first game.
Yeah. The only thing that kind of makes me sad is that like it's a PlayStation exclusive. I get why they have they have exclusives, but like they released Horizon Zero Dawn on Steam, so anything can happen.
I think the Spider-Man 2 game will just be even more fine-tuned. I think Insomniac's a great company, and I think the Spider-Man universe of video games is in very good hands. Don't you guys?
Yeah.
I
totally agree.
I don't think they could be in better hands.
Yeah. Yeah. I like this game better than the Activision games, honestly.
Yeah.
All right. Again, join us tomorrow night. We've got 2 shows coming up starting at 8 p.m. Central. These 2 gentlemen will join me along with a few other Spider friends, and we will review news and the comics. So thanks for watching, everybody.